stronger than ever so we can get back to the work our majority was elected to do. I'm proud to support the Speaker as we continue championing conservative priorities that will put our country on a better path. Thank you, Speaker McCarthy.
Gentleman from Florida.
I yield back.
The opening line of my colleague's speech was that Speaker McCarthy always overperforms expectations, but after tweeting, "Bring it," and after engaging in profane-laced tirades at House conference, he just lost a motion to table. So I wouldn't necessarily consider that overperforming expectations. And time and again, I've heard my colleagues say that, well, he deserves it because he went through a tough speaker contest. Let me let everyone know, he prevailed in that speaker contest because he made an agreement to fulfill certain commitments to make this an open and honest process, and he has failed to meet those commitments, and that's why we are here. I reserve.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 3 minutes to my very good friend, Mr. Jordan of Ohio.
Gentleman from Ohio is recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. On January 3rd, we said the 118th Congress is about 3 things. Pass the bills that need passed, do the oversight work that needs to be done, and stop the inevitable omnibus that comes from the United States Senate right before the holidays. Kevin McCarthy has been rock solid on all 3. We have passed the bills we told the American people we would pass. 87,000 IRS agents, that bill passed. Parents' Bill of Rights, that bill passed. Energy legislation passed. Border security, immigration enforcement legislation, the strongest bill ever to pass the Congress, passed earlier this year. We have done what we told them we were going to do. We can't help it the Senate won't take up those good common sense bills. They'll have to answer to the American people come Election Day. Oversight. We have done the oversight that we're supposed to do. Because of our oversight, we know that parents were targeted by the Department of Justice. Because of our oversight, we know that 51 former intel officials misled the country weeks before the most important election we have. And because of our oversight, the Disinformation Governance Board at the Department of Homeland Security is gone. Because of our oversight, the memo attacking pro-life Catholics has been rescinded. Because of our oversight, unannounced visits to Americans' home by the Internal Revenue Service has stopped. That happened under Speaker McCarthy. And on the third one, on this side of it, we know there's a big old ugly bill coming at the end of the year. All kinds of spending, all kinds of garbage in it. We're still in that fight. Frankly, to Matt's point, we don't know how that one's going to shake out. But we do know this. We do know this. On Saturday, we didn't take the Senate's bill. They tried to send over and shove it down our throats on Saturday. We didn't take that bill. And it was a tough position he was in. There were 5 options on the table last week. Option 1 was send a long-term CR over there. That would have leveraged the 1% cut, something a bunch of us voted for, both parties. Couldn't get the votes for that one. Second option was to focus on the one issue the country now is completely focused on, the border issue. We couldn't get the votes for that one either. But when the Senate tried to send us that bill, he said no to it. I think the Speaker has kept his word. I know my colleagues and friends are saying different. I think he has kept his word on those 3 things that we talked about on January 3rd, frankly, that entire week. He has kept his word. I think we should keep him as Speaker. I yield back.
Ohio's argument is that many of the bills he referenced as having passed are not law. We are on a fast track to an omnibus bill, and it is difficult to champion oversight when House Republicans haven't even sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden. So it's hard to make the argument that oversight is the reason to continue when it sort of looks like failure theater. I yield such time as you may consume to my colleague from Arizona, Mr. Biggs.
You got a lot of booze there.
Arizona's recognized. How much time?
What he consumes.
So much as he may consume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a serious time.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind immediately goes to the young deputy from Cochise County who 2 nights ago, while trying to apprehend a runaway vehicle smuggling humans across the border, suffered major injuries, transported to Pima County, where he's in a Tucson hospital fighting for his life.
Here we go.
I'm talking about a border that remains wide open, where drugs come through the Tucson sector, the most gotaways, known and unknown, of any sector along the border. Terrorists coming in. People conducting criminal conduct coming in. Criminal gang members. Human smugglers, sex traffickers. They're coming across our border to the tune of hundreds of thousands every month. Now, I appreciate my colleagues and their position, but I would suggest something. I don't think you can just skip to last weekend and say, oh my goodness, a CR came out last weekend on Saturday. I think we need to go back to January. I'll say this body came together on the Republican side and we passed a good border security piece of legislation, H.R. 2. That's good. And then last week we passed the DHS bill and the DOD bills, which had funding for our CBP, ICE, military leaders, military men and women. But why were we successful in doing that? What happened to motivate us to get there? Well, for one thing, we didn't bother to pass the 12 appropriations bills as required under the Budget Control and Impounds Law of 1974. We didn't do it. And you know how many times that's not been done? 25 years in a row. And you know how many CRs this body has passed in that same period of time? 130. You know what that gets you? A $2 trillion plus structural deficit like we had in fiscal year 23. You know what that leads you to?
You made that deficit.
$1 trillion national debt, which is where we sit today.
That's because you did taxes.
Somewhere north of $700 billion in interest payments.
You gave away taxes.
And you know why that happened? Because this body is entrenched in a suboptimal path and refuses to leave it. Refuses to leave that path. You cannot change if you're unwilling to change.
You gave tax cuts to the rich.
We had every opportunity to change. We were promised change.
And grew the
we were
deficit.
Promised we were going to go ahead. And we were going to get those 12 bills done. And if we got those 12 bills done, do you know why you do 12 bills? Because it allows you to reduce spending, get rid of wasteful, duplicative programs. It allows you to set an agenda to restore fiscal sanity. We chose to not do it again.
Biggest debt in our lifetime was with your president last time because you got rid of all of the taxes from rich people.
People said, we'll vote President. We'll go ahead. We're going to put our trust in Mr. McCarthy to become the Speaker. That didn't happen. I suspected that would be the case. That was my struggle. That was my struggle last November and December. I iterated it to this body, our conference anyway. When we got to the debt ceiling, again, that seemed to spring upon everybody like a surprise. And when that happened, I was in there for some of those negotiations on where that number would be. And I was astonished how that 1.5 trillion number was negotiated. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I would tell you this. To his credit, the Speaker told us one thing that I believe to be true. He said that's basically the ante in a poker game. He can sit down at the table. And I told my colleagues who supported that $1.5 trillion in 8 months, that you're willing to raise the debt ceiling, that's the opening marker. And indeed it was.
The debt ceiling is to pay for things you've already spent. It doesn't raise the price or the debt.
Yes, I think it's time to make a change. I'm not the only one. And thus it's somber. Thus it is somber. But what have we failed to accomplish? Why didn't we get this stuff done? When we're campaigning, we're talking about an extension of the debt ceiling to January of 2025. We're talking about additional Ukraine funding. Is that going to, maybe that's good in your districts, maybe it's not. But that money's not offset. We're not paying for it. We haven't designated how we're going to pay for that.
How did you pay for the tax cuts for the rich
Package.
that blew up the deficit you're talking about?
The IRS remains 80% increased. And I would tell you, I could go down the list, but I will just tell you why this happens.
Clinton had you in a surplus.
Do your 12 budget bills, and you rely ultimately on a CR, and I'll get to the calendar in a second. What happens is you cannot leverage this administration to actually enforce the border laws that you need to have enforced. This is a lawless Biden regime.
What does that have to do with the deficit?
Not enforce border laws. And we can pass them till we're blue in the face. But until you leverage the budget and the spending, you will not see enforcement by this administration. So now take a look.
So you're going to hold the country hostage
just provided.
and the government hostage. Gotcha.
We're supposed to finish by November 3rd, our 12 bills.
Gotcha. I'm glad you
By
told the
November
truth.
17th, that's when we're supposed to see that the conference committees have come together, both sides, and we've resolved this. I don't believe that that's going to happen. It wasn't going to happen before. You were betting on the come again. At some point, I'd urge you to stop betting on the come and bet on the reality. That's why I can't support the speaker any longer. I'll be voting for the motion to vacate, yield back.
Reserve. Gentleman yields back his time. Gentleman from Florida.
Reserves.
Reserves. Members are advised to direct your comments to the chair, please. Gentleman from Oklahoma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend from Arkansas, Mr. Westerman.
Gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Westerman, is recognized for 2 minutes.
Selah. S-E-L-A-H. Selah. This unique word scattered throughout the Psalms signals to the reader to pause, reflect, consider, and maybe take a deep breath before moving on. Psalmists use Selah to emphasize the significance of a statement. For example, King David wrote, "Blessed be the Lord who daily bears our burden, the God who is our salvation." Selah. That is a profound statement with huge implications. It deserves more than a cursory consideration. Within the next hour, this House will vote yea or nay to vacate the Speaker's chair, a profound action with huge implications. This was last tried in 1910. Joseph Cannon won the vote. 113 years later, my office is in the Cannon Office Building, and Uncle Joe Cannon's statue sits just outside this chamber. No living human has taken the vote we're about to take. It deserves that we pause, we reflect, that we consider deeply the ramification of our actions. To my fellow Republicans who would consider voting yes to removing our Republican Speaker, please pause and ask yourself 2 questions. Will your yes vote make America stronger?
Wait a minute. I'm going to stop here because I need you guys to also understand that the reason why no living human has made this vote is because there's never been a Congress this crazy before, a party this crazy before, ruled by fascists, ruled by single-minded, greedy fascists that have turned into Twitter wanderers instead of legislators. That's why this should give you pause. Selah indeed. What have you become?
Will your yes vote strengthen conservative policies? If you believe yes is the right vote, please stand before this body and the American people and articulate your plan. Not your grievances or your wishes, your plan. Convince the mass majority of the Republican conference that strongly disagrees with you to follow you. If you cannot do that, which you have failed to do so far, then voting yes is at the least a disruptive overreaction. In reality, it's selfish, bad for conservative policies, and bad for America. That's why I strongly support Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and why, without hesitation or reservation, I will vote no on this disastrous resolution. I yield back.
What a debacle you've become. What a laughing stock.
There's nothing selfish about wanting a Speaker of the House who tells the truth. I reserve.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
You're willing to throw your own people under the bus.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend from Kentucky and fellow member of the Rules Committee, Mr. Massey.
Gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, as the only still serving co-author and co-sponsor of the motion to vacate Speaker Boehner, I can tell you this motion to vacate is a terrible idea. As the only member who's serving
so you started
every
it.
chance to vote against Speaker Boehner and to vote against Speaker Ryan, I can tell you that this chamber has been run better, more conservatively, and more transparently under Mr. McCarthy than any other speaker that I have served under. As a member of the Rules Committee, one of three conservatives who were placed there out of trust, the Speaker gave us a blocking position by putting 3 of us on there to keep an eye on the Rules Committee to make sure the process was fair and even. I can tell you it's been fair and even. None of us are voting against the Speaker today. Regular order is at odds with predetermined outcomes. Yet the Speaker is being accused of not holding to regular order and predetermined outcomes at the same time. It is not possible. You cannot be for both at the same time.
Because when you swim in the sewer, you get crap on your boots. You made a pact with these devils, and now you're wondering why are they acting like devils.
I was a party to the January agreement, and I can tell you that there were promises in there, but there was never a promise for an outcome. There was never a promise that you could force Joe Biden to sign something. There was only the promise that we would try, and try we have. We have tried in the Rules Committee. We have tried on the floor. We've been trying this since the summer, and there's enough blame to go around for why we don't have 12 bills, but part of it was a relitigation of the debt limit deal. By the way, there was no promise on the debt limit deal. No conditions on that in January. 0 whatsoever. I was in the room for that. So the 12 bills were delayed over what? $100 billion. That's a lot of money. But it's nothing compared to the $2 trillion that I came here to object to when Speaker Pelosi and President Trump pushed that bill through.
Oh, you don't want to clap
We
for
have
that.
over 500 amendments. Listen, this is a referendum on this institution.
Yes, it is.
We have tried regular order. Speaker McCarthy has tried regular order. If regular order fails today, if you vacate the Speaker, nobody is going to try it again.
Gentleman's time has expired.
This institution will fail. Please do not vacate the Speaker.
It might have already failed because you've laid with the devil in hopes of
Gentleman
power
from Florida.
I reserve.
beyond
Gentleman from Florida
democracy.
reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend from California, Mr. McClintock.
Gentleman from California, Mr. McClintock, is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, if there was ever a time for sobriety, wisdom, and caution in this House, it is right now. If this motion carries, the House
It was a
will be
long time
paralyzed.
ago.
We can expect week after week of fruitless ballots while no other business can be conducted.
Oh, like you mean the past 6
Democrats
months?
will revel in Republican dysfunction, and the public will rightly be repulsed.
They already
Only
are.
When the Democrats are able to enlist a rump caucus of Republicans to join a coalition to end the impasse. This House will shift dramatically to the left and will effectively end Republican House majority that the voters elected in 2022.
Thank
This, in
God.
turn, will neutralize the only counterweight in our elected government to the woke left's control of the Senate and the White House at a time when their policies are destroying our economy and have opened our borders to invasion.
You destroyed the economy with the
There
tax
are
cuts for the
turning points
rich.
in history whose significance is only realized by the events that they unleash. This is one of those times. We are at the precipice There are only minutes left to come to our senses and realize the grave danger our country is in at this moment. Dear God, grant us the wisdom to see it and to save our country from it.
Too late. You voted in the fascist people, the Tea Party. You voted in the backlash.
Gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Speaker, there is nothing sober, wise, or cautious about the path we are on. We are on a path to financial ruin if this House does not take a different posture, a different procedure, and yield toward different outcomes and a better future. I reserve.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1.5 minutes to my very good friend from Florida, Mr. Jimenez.
1.5 minutes. Gentleman from Florida is recognized for 1.5 minutes.
I stand before my colleagues in the nation as a proud representative of the great state of Florida. I truly am beyond blessed to represent the paradise that is Miami-Dade County and the Florida Keys, and I am beyond proud to represent my community before this Congress, to stand with a leader who has consistently demonstrated an unwavering commitment to our country and to the principles that define us as Americans, Kevin McCarthy. Today is historic for a lot of reasons. For one thing, this is the first time in over 100 years that this has been attempted. But it's also because we're part of a Congress with historically tight majorities for the Republicans in the House and the Democrats in the Senate, and we have a Democratic White House. Divided government, that's what we have.
You still have George Santos, and nobody says anything.
To the issues facing this country. That's a reflection of the principles that are uniquely American. Principles
that's why.
Exceptional. And principles that allowed me, an exile, who came here from Cuba, fleeing communist Cuba.
You allowed charlatans, liars,
See,
greedy,
and everything that I am,
sewage.
Everything that I ever will be, is
you aligned with
America.
them.
The best part about it is that my story,
this is the result.
That I'm so proud to represent, is a story of many in this body. Is that we are not the exception in America. We are the rule. That's the America that Kevin McCarthy has fought for his entire career. Kevin McCarthy is a champion for the American dream, and he's proved it as our Speaker. Thomas Jefferson once said, "I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the guise of taking care of them." McCarthy.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
expired.
Let's keep Kevin McCarthy our Speaker. A great man, a great leader, a great Speaker. Thank you, and I yield back.
It's all expired. You rode the tiger in here, and now you're wondering why it's eating you alive.
Gentleman has 9 3/4 minutes remaining.
I reserve.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1.5 minutes to my very good friend from Iowa, the gentlelady, Ms. Henson.
The gentlelady from Iowa, Ms. Henson, is recognized for 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of our Speaker, Kevin McCarthy.
Go!
Let's be very clear here. We would not have a House Republican majority without the relentless efforts of this man, our Speaker. Under his leadership, Joe Biden's policies have had a check and balance. His policies have created a horrific border crisis. 10,000 illegal immigrants a day surging across our border. Under Speaker McCarthy, Republicans have passed legislation to secure our border. Joe Biden has done everything to squash American energy, selling our oil reserves to China. Under Speaker McCarthy,
America has the highest,
passed legislation to unleash
the highest
American
export
energy
of energy and
Joe
gas
Biden has spent
under
dollars like there's
Biden.
no tomorrow. Under
Unfortunate
Speaker
as that is.
have returned to passing single subject appropriations bills and ending
We
the
have more
status quo
surplus
of
energy and
omnibus
gas
spending.
right
One of
now
the
than
most
we did
valuable
4
pieces
years
of
ago.
advice that I
It's
received
just the
was
numbers.
from Kevin McCarthy
It's
when
just
I
the
got
fact.
to DC. He told me to separate the signal from the noise.
It's unfortunate.
The noise is those who are causing chaos for their own personal benefit while ignoring the needs of their constituents and this country, grinding our work here to a halt. The signal is the many accomplishments that we've delivered for the American people with Speaker McCarthy at the helm. The signal is the failures coming out of the White House time and time again. The signal is the work that we must do today and going forward to save our country for my kids and yours. My colleagues today here have a choice. Be a chaos agent or get back to work. So I call on my colleagues, let's separate the signal from the noise. Let's support our Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, so we can get back to work for the American people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The problem is, you say that now.
Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I've caught the signal too. The signal is for $33 trillion in debt, facing $2.2 trillion annual deficit.
Then why did you give all the rich people tax cuts and not pay for it?
How does that happen? How does the greatest country in the world have a process so broken that it would be laughed out of the rooms in the halls of the state legislatures?
Because you voted a clown in. That's how it happens.
The law says we're supposed to have the very single subject spending bills that my colleague referenced in the summer. That we're supposed to have that and move it. But there's a dirty little secret in this town, and that is if you delay, if you hold the bills, if you make multiple contradictory promises, as Speaker McCarthy has done.
If you shut down the government like you're doing.
Shut down politics. Well, nobody wants to shut the government down. No one cheers for a shutdown.
You did.
And of course, when people are backed up against shutdown politics, the decision calculus changes. So year after year, decade after decade, we break the law and we do the same thing. We pass a continuing resolution, then we pass another continuing resolution, and then it's either another continuing resolution or an omnibus bill or a series of minibuses that lump these disparate things together. The American people want all of us to take votes on single subject matters. They don't want to see these things all mushed together and log rolled. And it was concerning to me to hear of news of a secret deal on Ukraine funding that would have log rolled more money with Ukraine with our southern border. Now, how offensive is that to our Customs and Border Patrol, to our ICE, to the people that are suffering as a consequence of our border, that some of my colleagues are only willing to stand up and fight for our border if they could send billions to Ukraine to fund their border too? Well, I've had enough of that, and that's why I brought this motion to vacate. I reserve.
Gentleman's time is reserved. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to our distinguished majority leader, my good friend from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise.
Gentleman from Louisiana, the majority leader, Mr. Scalise, is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank my friend from Oklahoma for yielding. And when we go back to January, as many people have, we knew that it was going to be a narrow majority. We also knew that it wasn't going to be easy. How many of us came here because we thought this job was going to be easy? How many of us thought the task ahead of us to address the problems of this country was going to be easy?
About 90 of you.
One thing we did know is that if we were going to finally start confronting problems that had been ignored for years and years and years, we had to change the way that this place worked. And one thing Speaker McCarthy embraced from day one is to start making those kind of changes to this institution, opening up the process, allowing members to be more engaged, having amendments come to the floor, single subject bills, doing appropriations bills.
Like what?
Yes, making that happen overnight is not something that happens automatically.
What bills?
But it started to happen, and we are now seeing the fruits of it. Just last week, we had 4 different appropriations bills on this House floor, 4 different ones. Now, those bills took weeks and weeks to finally get to the floor, going through an open committee process, hundreds of amendments, each one of them, where Republicans, Democrats could bring their ideas.
None of them will pass the Senate.
And we debated those bills on the floor, some until after midnight.
You got nothing.
Where members can actually participate in the process. This has been a broken process for a long time, but it's a process where if we're going to confront the problems that families are facing, because right now we need to resolve our differences inside this House chamber before we can then go and fight for those families who are struggling. But every single day across America, families are struggling with real problems.
How can you help them?
We're going to have to get back to solving.
What did you do to help them?
Those problems are real for them.
What's the
it's
bill?
Inflation. It's the economy. It's
Where's the
high
bill?
energy costs.
What's the bill?
It's an open southern border that doesn't just affect the border
What's
states.
your bill about
it's affecting every state. Republican districts, Democrat districts. Everybody knows it.
What's your bill?
And it can be ignored by the White House.
What's your bill?
But this House is the only body that started to take action. When we, with H.R. 2...
It's October.
And then with the border bill last week...
When did you start?
And with the action we took last week, over 70% of government funding passed out of the House. However, everybody voted, Republican or Democrat. This House passed funding for over 70% of the federal government's operation, and it's sitting over in the Senate where they've passed 0. And we're going to beat up
each other and talk
because
about
you
our
passed
internal
bull
processes,
crap.
and we need to get our internal processes working.
You
better.
did it for clicks.
But you know what? So does that other body over there, and so does the White House. Everybody in this town needs to be engaged in addressing these problems. But if we don't start here,
You've done nothing.
and if we don't focus these next 45 days, because that's what we've got in front of us.
It's October.
We've got 2 bills this week.
You've done nothing.
We've got 2 more appropriations bills next week. And if we're going to be confronting those, we've got to stay focused on our mission. What the other side does, let's continue to put pressure on them. But we also need to put pressure on ourselves to do our job. And Speaker McCarthy's been leading at the top of the level to make sure that we have the tools to do our jobs in a different way than the House has done it before. This House is going to have to continue.
All you've done is try to impeach Hunter Biden, who's not
the
president.
American people sent us here to confront those problems. We're finally starting to. This isn't the time to slow that process
All
down.
you've done is talk about urination, public
work.
urination.
We need to keep fighting for those families who are struggling. But so does the Senate, and so does the White House as well. Let's keep doing this work that we were sent here to do.
All you've done since you got there is fight for public urination and impeaching Hunter Biden.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized with 7 3/4 minutes remaining. Mr. Cole commands 12 1/2 minutes left in this debate. Gentleman from Florida.
I agree with everything that the majority leader said in those remarks, except one thing. It is astonishing to hear any colleague give Speaker McCarthy credit for moving on to the single subject appropriations bills. As you heard my colleague Mr. Biggs say, that was never the plan from Speaker McCarthy. The week before we moved on to those single subject appropriations bills, the plan was another CR. He pitched a CR. They tried to get us to vote for a CR, and only when a brave few said we are done governing by continuing resolution. We are here to eulogize the era of continuing resolution. We will not do it. We will not pass it. These bills can go. The spending may rise and fall as the years pass. But the notion that we're going to lump in the Department of Education and the Department of Labor with our military and our troops and our Border Patrol is fundamentally unserious, and I would suggest chaotic. We cannot do that. It was only because we forced that to happen. And by the way, if we continue with Speaker McCarthy, the appropriations process will go right back to what he wanted it to go back to. Just a sideshow. Just a puppet show. Just something to keep the hamsters on the hamster wheel as they continue to back people up against a calendar, centralize power with the lobbyists and special interests that move all kind of money through the leadership. And then that's how they get their way, and that's why the American people have been getting screwed decade after decade, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore without a fight.
That's also 100% true.
Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
I hate to tell you guys, that's also 100% true. Unfortunately, he has no option to get rid of the lobbyists and special interests.
Speaker, I want to recalibrate our minds.
But he's right.
What is actually happening here today? This proceeding looks important, it feels consequential, but let's look at what else is happening across America. Today, about 300 Americans will die from fentanyl poisoning. Today, about 11,000 people will illegally penetrate our borders. Today's debt is approaching $34 trillion. Today's mortgage rates just hit a 25-year high, now approaching 8%. Our energy prices are again at back-breaking highs with gas approaching $8 a gallon in my district. Today, China and the CCP grow stronger with an intent to go to war by 2027, and our military is experiencing record low retention and record low recruitment.
Well, then why don't you go ahead and pass the bill so that people can get promoted in the military?
Dark and
tell Tuberville to get off his butt.
The Republican majority here today in the House is the only firewall against the damaging far-left policies of the Biden administration. The single-subject appropriation bills that we were supposed to be voting on this week will literally fight to reverse the darkness of these realities and fight inflation, cut spending, secure our border while enhancing our nation's security and investing in our soldiers at a meaningful level. But today, this body filled with people in fancy suits, led by a few Republicans who are running with scissors and supported by Democrats, who have personal issues with the Speaker, have uncertain intentions and even more uncertain goals.
That was funny.
And they've decided to make today about drama. not about solving problems and helping our constituents, but about drama. We need to be the no drama option for America.
Too late!
And I fear that
what
this
is wrong with you
drama
guys?
of today jeopardizes our majority and by definition removes the last layer of defense protecting America from this Biden administration.
How can anyone take you guys seriously when you still have George Santos in there and no one said anything about him yet? You brought in the scissors and now are mad that they're running with them.
I'm here to solve problems too, but we have decade after decade of history showing us that you don't solve any problems with continuing resolutions and omnibus bills. That creates more problems, more debt, more inflation, more pain for American families.
The debt was gone.
Problems is to break the fever dream.
Every time you get in, you raise the debt.
An omnibus bill and instead return to the very single subject spending bills that we will only get if my resolution passes.
I remember we had a surplus.
I reserve.
Under a Democratic president, as much as I don't like them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes.
And no, I'm not a Democrat.
From North Carolina, Mr. McHenry.
Gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. McHenry.
Just don't have a choice these days.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every step of the way, Speaker McCarthy has been doubted. After the first Speaker vote, he was mocked, right? And after 15, they called him Speaker. And even then, it was the media and the left that mocked him. With the narrowest Republican majority in a generation, what did we achieve? We brought the president to the table when he stubbornly said for 100 days they would not negotiate.
What did you achieve?
I took him at his word. The speaker said, no, we'll get him to the table. And sure enough, we did. The result? The most conservative spending package we've seen in generations. The largest spending cuts year over year that any Congress has passed. Conservative outcomes. So I understand your position on the left. I understand that. But my friends on the right?
You cut spending.
Why?
How did that affect the deficit?
So I understand the frustration on the left at what happened on the continuing resolution. But
that's
why
right.
would we have conservatives object to that? Why will we have House members object to that? We rolled the Senate.
Just raise the child poverty rate.
Moreover, we never rolled the Senate to get less spending, and we got it.
Raise the homelessness rate. That's what your spending cuts did.
What I don't understand is why some Republicans think that that's a bad thing. The frustration for me today, I understand where the liberals are. I know you support the constitutional order, except in a moment like this when you are questioned on that. I understand that. You can't be counted on in a moment like this with the state of the speakership. But for Republicans, why will we give up a conservative working majority for better outcomes and hand the keys over to the Democrats? Why
you
will
can't
we do that?
trust them? After 6
with
months
this
of
record
nothingness?
That we've seen
Of calling them
and a Republican majority produce in
child
Washington
eaters
run by Democrats. We're going to throw that away, resulting in more liberal outcomes, not more conservative ones. So I understand why the left is where you are today.
You fix your problem.
Effective conservative majority, and I don't blame you. But on the right,
Gentleman's time has expired.
You fix your problems. You're the debacle party. Democrats have their own issues.
To hear from the principal architect of Mr. McCarthy's debt limit deal, but here's the reality. The only Republicans in America who believe that the debt limit deal was conservative are in this chamber right now. Because all over America, Republicans think that when you negotiated that debt limit deal, they took your lunch money. I reserve.
What?
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1.5 minutes to my very good friend from my home state, Gentlelady Ms. Bice.
Gentlelady from Oklahoma, Ms. Bice, is recognized for 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Under his leadership and a very small 5-seat majority, House Republicans have achieved, contrary to popular belief, numerous victories. We passed the Parents' Bill of Rights.
Parents' Bill of Rights.
To lower the cost of gasoline and to restore American energy.
Why is it so high?
The fiscal
we already had
Responsibility
energy
Act, which
independence.
was one of the largest enacted cuts with enforceable spending caps in American history. And
while you
HR2,
cut spending.
the most conservative southern border security bill in history.
And they're still coming across the border. What did you do again?
And our nation's veterans.
You did what?
Let me be abundantly clear. Attempting to remove Speaker McCarthy will put this House in a stalemate and paralyze our ability to fight for our constituents and instead create a fight amongst one another.
Too late.
We have 43 days to restore fiscal responsibility.
You said
and
nothing.
Advance conservative appropriations priorities.
While fascists took over.
Which is exactly what my colleagues have asked for. Instead, we are threatening any House proceedings.
This is the result.
This is an unnecessary distraction.
Of your silence.
Working together under the leadership of Speaker McCarthy is of the utmost importance.
For 8 years.
I stand and strongly support Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House, and I encourage my Republican colleagues to do the same.
This is the result of your silence for 8 years. This is the result of your
Mr.
not
Cole
fighting back against George
reserve
Santos,
his time. He
of
has
your
7 minutes
accepting of the
remaining
Tea
in the
Party.
debate-controlled
This is the
time.
result of your allowing the tiger in for clicks and votes rather than doing anything substantive. This is the result.
2 minutes to my very good friend and our distinguished conference leader, Ms. Stefanik of New York.
The gentlelady from New York, Ms. Stefanik, is recognized for 2
Or will you
minutes.
apologize?
Anyone and everyone who knows Kevin McCarthy, whether they are friend or foe, knows that Kevin McCarthy is a happy warrior. He is tireless. He has that uniquely American grit.
Oh my
Under
God.
Kevin's speakership that lasted 15 rounds of him never giving up, this Republican majority has exceeded all expectations.
He's weak.
We reopened the People's House.
That's why.
We passed the strongest border security bill in our nation's history.
Then why
We
are they still
passed an
coming?
Energy plan to unleash American energy dominance.
We were already
passed
energy
defense
dominant.
bills to support our troops.
The
Under
troops are
Kevin's
already
leadership,
supported.
He's brought hundreds and hundreds of bipartisan members of Congress to Israel, our greatest ally. He elected the most diverse class of Republicans ever, with the largest number of Republican women ever in American history.
How many is that?
This boy from
That's a
Memphis,
good question.
He cares deeply
The most
about his
diverse.
constituents, his country,
The one black guy?
and the American people.
And the 2
that
women.
includes each and every one of his colleagues. He's been to our districts,
Gentlelady will
toasted at our
suspend.
weddings, celebrated the birth of our children, and
The-
has cheered us when we haven't believed in ourselves, which is why the Republicans strongly support Speaker McCarthy and are proud he is our Speaker. And I yield back.
Ew.
Gentlelady,
Gross.
it was not the intent to cut the gentlelady off, except that we have too much chatter going on in the House chamber. Every member deserves to be heard. So if you have
That's true.
private conversations you need to have, please take them from the floor.
Very true. Go ahead, man. You got it. Listen, guys, this is the point. Understand what I'm telling you.
Gentlelady may continue.
Why I'm doing
As I have
this.
said, the Speaker has been to our districts. He is toasted at our weddings.
All right,
He
this
is
what she's not talking about anything substantive. The Parents' Bill of Rights. You tell me what that is and how that affects your gas prices. You tell me that since Biden's been there, we've had so much excess gas that we've become the #1 exporter of gas. Tell me that he did anything for gas prices when around the world gas prices have been rising. What have they done besides talk about Hunter Biden?
Then we definitely need higher expectations. And while it's heartwarming and kind that the Speaker calls people on their birthday,
They allowed
and
these
visits their
insane
district
people
and
into their
congratulates them
party
on their children, please note
because power
this
was
isn't
paramount.
a critique of
And
the
now the
individual, it's a
tiger
critique
is
of the
biting
job.
them back.
The job hasn't been done. We've had multiple contradictory promises.
That's it.
And it's just quite something. For those of you keeping track at home, the last 3 speakers you've heard opposing my resolution all voted for the debt deal. So, like, if you believe that the debt limit...
How many of them voted for the fascist?
...was a good thing, maybe you agree with their perspective. I think the debt limit deal was a terrible deal.
They were okay with it
really was the
when it
original
benefited
spirit of
them.
the McCarthy speakership, and it's one of the reasons I seek to vacate the chair now. I reserve.
And
Time
now
is
these
reserved.
fools
Hold on, Mr. Cole.
have taken
Thank you
over
very
your
much,
party
Mr. Speaker.
because you
I yield
allowed
2
it.
minutes to my very good friend from the great state
You
of
allowed this
Louisiana,
Tea Party
Mr.
stuff. The same
Gentleman
thing
from
that got
Louisiana,
Boehner
Mr.
out.
Graves, is recognized for
He
2
saw
minutes.
it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank Jim from Oklahoma for yielding. Mr. Speaker, we've been here for 8 months with one of the tightest majorities in modern history. Yet look at the accomplishments of this majority, this conservative majority.
What accomplishment?
The majority of Republicans voting for.
Let me get it
the
again.
Strongest border security in my lifetime.
Well, then why are they still coming?
This incomprehensible energy policy that's driving up energy costs 40%, utility and gasoline payments, pushing Americans into energy poverty. We passed legislation to unleash America's energy resources, pushing back this administration's brainless policies on energy.
How?
We passed legislation to
we have the most. The numbers are the most.
$4.8 trillion.
It's the most.
And I want to make note, my friends that are carrying this motion to vacate.
It just is.
We've passed legislation to streamline regulations, permitting, environmental laws for the first time in 40 years.
Yay! Get rid of the environment. You are correct.
To get people back into the workforce. Again, my friends over here opposed. I keep wondering, what is going on? Are we redefining what conservative is?
Yes.
What's going on in this
You
country
did.
today? What's going on in this body? We have Freedom Works, Heritage, Chip Roy, and Jim Jordan say something's conservative, and these folks say it's not, and they're right. And all of a sudden, my phone keeps sending text messages. Text messages saying, hey, give me money. Oh,
that's it.
that.
He's
Oh,
100% right.
I filed the motion to vacate.
There it is.
Official actions to raise money. It's disgusting. It's what's disgusting about Washington. Mr. Speaker,
he's right.
He's right. Folks right here that have brought up this motion to vacate.
Finally, someone tells the truth.
Our military service members refuse to pay them. I want to quote my delegation member, my senator.
It's all about anger and punching and Twitters.
Pay our service members. If they're not
for
going
money.
To protect us. Next time someone invades America, call a crackhead. Let me know how that works out for you.
Yield the gentleman another 30 seconds.
Gentleman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, I've heard people talk about bad faith here. I've heard them make reference to this January agreement. My friends from Arizona, Virginia, and Florida. Let me be crystal clear. Not a single one of them were in the room. You know what?
True.
The Speaker didn't meet the targets of that January agreement. He exceeded them. The greatest savings in American history. The greatest savings in American history.
This guy is right.
Mr. Speaker,
what can I say? He's 100% right.
This isn't about fundraising. This is about our
country.
It's
all about
fundraising.
fundraising.
Our children and our grandchildren. We need to stand behind the slimmest
30
majority.
seconds.
We need to stand behind the greatest speaker in modern history.
Oh, God.
Who's delivered the
Let's
best
not do that.
conservative wins for this country.
Let's not
I
do
yield
that.
back.
But fine. This guy is right. I love how he had the evidence, the proof. He had the proof. As it's going, look at them standing up because they know it too. He said the quiet part out loud. It's all about the
My
fundraising.
colleague says we passed the strongest border bills in history. Well, guess what? Look at the border right now.
That's also
We didn't use
true.
Sufficient leverage in the debt limit or in any other thing to actually get results on the border. The border is a disaster. Really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on that you fix the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility. I'm real glad you guys didn't put work requirements on Medicaid. It probably would have resulted in Medicaid expansion. And when it comes to how those raise money,
So you tell the truth.
no lecture on asking
You don't like
patriotic
Medicaid.
Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have boo all you want.
Yeah, you can
who
boo
have
all you
borrowed
want.
out this
He's
time
right.
And have borrowed against the future of
He's
our
right.
future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans 10 and 20 and 30.
That's why he's doing this. Because the lobbyists don't want this either. The lobbyists want stability. He's being funded by the same uneducated people that they love. We love the uneducated, and we send them emails every time we shut the government down and talk about Hunter Biden. We love them. He's 100% correct. At least he's being funded by the same people who he convinced to fund him, and not the companies. That's a fact, whether we like it or not.
Mr. Speaker, I yield the balance of my time to my great friend from North Dakota, Mr. Armstrong.
Gentleman from North Dakota, Mr. Armstrong, is recognized with the remaining 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear why we're here. Because the incentive structure in this town is completely broken.
Yep.
We no longer value loyalty, integrity, competence, or collaboration. Instead, we have descended to a place where clicks, TV hits, and the never-ending quest for the most mediocre taste of celebrity drives decisions and encourages juvenile behavior that is so far beneath this esteemed body.
Your fault.
Kevin McCarthy has
You
done
brought
more
them
in
in.
9 months to restore the people's house than any speaker in decades. We have done regular order.
You brought in a
We have
child
had
to the
open
presidency.
amendments. And every single member of this chamber has the right, the ability, and the opportunity to be heard on the floor.
You stayed silent.
It's been messy. It's been raucous.
When it
and
was
at times
gross,
it's been chaotic.
you stayed silent.
And God bless every minute of it. Because democracy is supposed to be hard. And because the alternative is a closed-door process where 2,000-page bills come out of the Speaker's office at midnight and are forced to the floor the next morning. Kevin McCarthy has broken that cycle. That alone is enough for him to remain our Speaker. But that doesn't deliver his opponents what they crave the most. Attention. We shouldn't stand for it. I won't stand for it. I will stand here with our Speaker, with our leader, that the overwhelming majority of our Congress supports. And you need to look no further than where the opponents are sitting today in this chamber. They're not over here, they're over there.
With the Democrats. We need to work together. Look at them over there with those Democrats.
So we're going to face these challenges
They're all
together,
full of crap.
And I say bring whatever comes next. Because we believe in the job you have done, Mr. Speaker. We believe in your vision. And most importantly, we are proud to call Kevin McCarthy our friend and our Speaker of the House.
Not enough
With
of
that,
you.
I yield back.
You just voted not to table it. Your entire party is a
Gentleman yields
it's
back
an
his time.
education
Gentleman
in malfunction.
With 3 minutes remaining.
To be clear, I tried to get one of the 3 podiums on the Republican side, and y'all wouldn't let me have them, so you sent me over here. But you know what? I'll make this argument at any desk in this building, from the well, from the chair. I'll make it on every street corner in this country that Washington must change. We have to break the cycle. We have to break the fever. And I would hope, truly, that the reforms that we are fighting for are reforms that would last and be embraced and that would democratize power in this institution beyond the privileged few who back us up against shutdown politics and Christmases and deadlines.
While using shutdown politics.
Mr. Speaker,
I hear
high
you.
inflation is on the verge of bankrupting American families. Our economy is breaking in half. A typical American family can't afford to buy a house in 99% of U.S. counties.
How are we going to change that?
Inflation is stealing more than $700 a month from working Americans.
What's your bill?
Nearly $9,000 a year.
Tell me your bill.
Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will.
Have you a bill?
I make no apologies for defending the right of every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families, and we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership.
What's your
we have
bill?
To rip off the Band-Aid. We have
Your
to get
idea?
back on a better course.
None.
And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this vote's going to go. Usually when a vote comes to this floor, it's pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so sure. But I am sure that we've made the right argument. That this place deserves single-subject spending bills. That we should have 72 hours to read a bill. That something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it. And there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security, because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair, and let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
Who's the better speaker? That's what I like to know. This is what happened, people. I'm done with this. I'm gonna let this row just go. But my last thing I'm gonna say is,
those opposed, no. The noes have it. The resolution is, gentleman from Florida.
I'd request the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 3 of Rule 20, the chair directs the clerk to conduct the vote by a call of the roll. The clerk will call the roll alphabetically by surname.
so now they're going to vote. This is it. He may not be speaker, but whether or not, I want you guys to understand the true issue here. The true issue is that once you held hands with the devil, once you allowed
the House will be in order,
this craziness into your party, once you realized that you had to gerrymander everything in every district in order to win votes because everything you want is antithetical to the rest of the nation, this is what happens. You either take control by force or you change your platform.
Nay.
And they refuse to change the platform.
Aguilar.
So now they're a party of fighting and force.
Nay.
And Twitter.
Allen.
Those getting funded by corporations.
All red.
Or those getting funded
Yay.
by the poor people who don't know what else to do.
Nay.
That's what's happening. The poor people that they've convinced that the people coming across the border are the ones taking their jobs. That the reason why they don't have health care is because of everything else except for the fact that they are the ones taking away the taxes that support it. That's what's happening. As she calls this vote, understand that I don't like the Democrats or the Republicans. I don't like any of them.
Bacon. Nay.
I hold all political offices with contempt and vote because I'm an adult and realize that there is something that is the better of two evils because the word better is involved. That's it. But the truth is this party has turned
Banks
into tigers eating themselves.
Banks.
Because they haven't had an idea that has worked in 30 years.
Farragon.
The deficit is up every time they're in. Whatever it is they're talking about.
Yay. Bean of Florida. Nay.
The Parents' Bill of Rights?
Yay.
Parents didn't have rights before?
Fence.
What are we talking about? Hunter Biden? He's not elected.
Sarah. Yay.
What are we talking about? Unleash the energy. Stop lying.
Nay.
We've had a surplus of energy since Biden got in. We export more energy than ever before because we have a surplus.
Nay.
And the companies that live here don't buy it from here.
Yay.
So that they can raise your prices. Meanwhile, they're getting rid of the regulations that would stop them from raising the price of gas. That's them. They just told you. They touted. They just touted. They said, look at what we've done. We've streamlined regulations. Those are the regulations that stops gas from going up. Those are the regulations Those are the regulations that regulated the companies from gouging you. They got rid of them, and then they're going to say, for some reason, we don't know why the gas is high. They're tricking you. And putting it on Twitter. Because they don't think you'll ever look it up or see anything that you don't already agree with. And there's no way to talk or convince them anymore.
Boyle of Pennsylvania.
This is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause.
Nay. Brown. Yay. Brownlee. Yay. Buchanan. Nay. Buck. Yay. Bouchon. No. Bazinski. Yay. Burchett. Yay. Burgess. Nay. Burleson. Nay. Bush. Bush. Calvert. Nay. Kamek. Kamek. Caraveo. Yay. Carbajal. Yay. Cardenas. Yay. Carey. Nay. Carl. Nay. Carson. Yay. Carter of Georgia. Nay. Carter of Louisiana. Yay. Carter of Texas. Carter of Texas. Cartwright. Yay. Kassar. Yay. Case. Yay. Caston. Yay. Castor of Florida. Yay. Castro of Texas. Yay. Chavez de Reamer. Nay. Sharfelis McCormick. Yay.
Say yay.
Chew. Yay.
Aye.
Siscomani. Nay.
Nay.
Clark of Massachusetts. Yay. Clark of New York. Yay. Cleaver. Yay. Klein. Nay. Cloud. Nay. Clyburn. Yay. Clyde. Nay. Cohen. Yay. Cole. Nay. Collins. Nay. Comer. Nay. Connolly. Yay. Correa. Yay. Costa. Yay. Courtney. Yay. Craig. Yay. Crane. Yay. Crawford. Nay. Crenshaw. Nay. Crockett. Yay. Crow. Yay. Cuellar. Yay. Curtis. Nay. Davids of Kansas. Yay. Davidson. Nay. Davis of Illinois. Yay. Davis of North Carolina. Yay. Dean of Pennsylvania. Yay. DeGette. Yay. Dela Cruz. Nay. DeLauro. Yay. Del Bene. Yay. DeLuzio. Yay. DeSaulnier. Yay. Desjardins. Nay. D'Esposito. Nay.
Thank goodness.
Diaz-Balart.
The Democrats
Nay.
finally showed some fight.
Dingle. Yay.
They didn't fight when it counted.
Doggett. Yay.
When nearly 20 million of the
Donalds.
bills
Nay.
that was supposed to help us got taken out.
Duarte.
They
No.
didn't fight then,
Nay. Duncan.
but they're fighting now, somehow.
Nay. Dunn of Florida. Nay. Edwards. Nay. Elsie. Nay. Emmer. Nay. Escobar.
They didn't fight for the Build Back Better Act
Yay.
when over half of it was
Escher.
taken out.
Yay. Espaillat. Yay. Estes. Nay. Evans.
They didn't fight for the Voting Rights Act.
Yay. Ezell.
Still not passed.
Nay. Fallon. Nay.
But they're standing together now.
Finstra.
Good job, guys.
Nay.
I guess.
Ferguson. No. Finstad. Nay.
I can't believe your corporate donors allowed you to
Fischbach.
do that.
Nay. Fitzgerald. Nay. Fitzpatrick. Nay. Fleischman. Nay. Fletcher. Yay. Flood. Nay. Foster. Yay. Fushi. Yay. Fox. Nay. Lois Frankel. Yay. C. Scott Franklin. Nay. Frost. Yay. Fry. Nay. Fulcher. Nay. Gates. Yay.
It's going to be a while.
Gallagher. Nay. Gallego. Yay. Garamendi. Yay. Garbarino.
I'll let you guys watch this in peace.
Nay. Mike Garcia. Nay. Robert Garcia. Yay. Garcia of Illinois. Yay. Garcia of Texas. Yay. Jimenez. Nay. Golden of Maine. Yay. Goldman of New York. Yay. Gomez. Yay. Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez. Vicente Gonzalez. Yay. Good of Virginia. Yay. Gooden of Texas. Gooden of Texas. Gosar. Nay. Gottheimer. Yay. Granger. Nay. Graves of Louisiana. Nay. Graves of Missouri. Nay. Green of Tennessee. Nay. Green of Texas. Yay. Green of Georgia. Nay. Griffith. Nay. Grijalva. Yay. Grothman. Nay. Guest. Nay. Guthrie. Nay. Hageman. No. Harder of California. Yay. Harris. Nay. Harshbarger. Nay. Hayes. Yay. Hearn. Nay. Higgins of Louisiana. Nay. Higgins of New York. Yay. Hill. Nay. Hines. Yay. Hinson. Nay. Horsford. Yay. Houchin. Nay. Houlihan. Oregon. Yay. Hudson. Nay. Huffman. Yay. Huizinga. Nay. Hunt. Hunt. Nay. Isa. Nay. Ivy. Yay. Jackson of Illinois. Yay. Jackson of North Carolina. Yay. Jackson of Texas. Nay. Jackson Lee. Yay. Jacobs. Yay. James, nay. Jayapal, yay. Jeffries, yay. Johnson of Georgia, yay.
It is funny to see how
Johnson
unified
of Louisiana,
the Democratic Party
nay.
is.
Johnson of Ohio, nay. Johnson of South Dakota,
If it wasn't election season, I think they would have all
Jordan,
voted differently.
nay. Joyce of Ohio, nay. Joyce of Pennsylvania, nay. Camlover Dove, yay. Captor, yay. Kane of New Jersey, nay. Keating, yay. Kelly of Illinois, yay. Kelly of Mississippi, nay. Kelly of Pennsylvania, absolutely not. Nay. Khanna, yay. Kiggins of Virginia, nay. Kildee, yay. Kiley, nay. Kilmer, yay. Kim of California, nay.
Orange County.
Kim of New Jersey, yay. Krishnamurthy, yay. Custer, yay. Kustoff, nay. LaHood, nay. Lalota, nay. Lamalfa, nay. Lamborn, nay. Landsman, yay. Langworthy, nay. Larson of Washington, yay. Larson of Connecticut, yay. Latta, nay. LaTurner, nay. Lawler, nay. Lee of California, yay. Lee of Florida, nay. Lee of Nevada, yay. Lee of Pennsylvania, yay. Ledger Fernandez, yay. Lesko, nay. Letlow, nay. Levin, yay. Blue, yay. Lofgren, yay. Loudermilk, nay. Lucas, nay. Lutkemeyer, nay. Luna, Latrell, nay. Lynch, yay. Mace, yay. Magaziner, Yea. Maliotakis. Nay. Man. Nay.
There was a rumble. Somebody went against party line.
Yea. Massey. Nay. Mast. Nay. Matsui. Yea. Macbeth. Yea. McCall. Nay. McLean. Nay. McClellan. Yea. McClintock. Nay. McCullum. Yea. McCormick. Nay. McGarvey. Yea. McGovern. Yea. McHenry. Nay.
As she calls out all these people, it's good to remember that democracy is hard. It's meant to never make anyone too happy, because that is the reality of compromise. You may have heard me say some things about the Republican Party, but what I'm saying is not condemning them because they're Republican or right-wing or whatever. And when I talk about the Democrats, I'm not condemning them because they're Democrats. These are just labels. The hard part is, out of 300 and something million people, you try to find consensus. But instead of finding consensus with the people, they're all finding consensus with the donors. Matt Gaetz is 100% correct. Every single time he pulls stunts like this, he gets fundraising. But that's only because the companies won't fundraise him.
More of Utah.
He can't join the Democratic Party. He can't become a liberal because 60 to 65% of the country is liberal, and he'd get more money if he did. But that also means that he'd have to go against the interest of himself and his beliefs, whatever they may be. On the other hand, the corporate Democrats and Republicans are fighting for those people who funded their campaigns. It's weird to see them stick together like this, the Democrats that is, and causing more chaos, because normally companies don't want chaos. They want everything to stay the same, status quo. That keeps the money flowing. Either way, McCarthy, Matt Gaetz is right. The people who they've convinced to just be opposition no matter what. No matter what, their goal is simply to create chaos, get rid of the government altogether. They believe that that's the way to go. I think that that's idiotic. I think that that's counterproductive. But he's right. For some reason, those are the people in the Tea Party, those are the people in the MAGA movement. That's what they've convinced them is the way to go. Never compromise. Ever compromise. So we have a dichotomy. The people who are antithetical to democracy, as in never ever compromise, are actually the only ones getting funded by the people and not the companies. To say it's broken is a misnomer. What's happened is this is an inevitable consequence of the money as speech laws. This is an inevitable consequence of PACs, super PACs. And then when it gets that corrupt, you find the rising of the fascism, the angst. You get rid of an education system so they don't know why they're angry or how to get rid of it. And you find someone who's good at pointing fingers and making you feel good, but not necessarily getting rid of the things that made you angry. And now in the Republican Party, because they were silent when the fascism was rising, because they were okay with giving tax breaks to millionaires, because they were okay with getting rid of the regulations that gave the gas companies any sort of what do you call it, making them responsibility to the people, they've allowed a part of their party to rise up, a populist movement, not funded by the corporations, but equally as messed up and want to destroy the government. And when that happens, is when you see what you see now. It's not broken. It's an inevitable consequence of corruption as a policy, as corruption as a campaign staple. When you told people that they needed to believe in this trickle-down, vote for the people who are taking your money because somehow it's going to trickle down to you, the inevitable consequence is what we see now. A populist movement that doesn't know what to be angry at, but is doggone okay with burning it down. Because they have no other choice in their mind. And while the ones who were corporately funded stayed silent, they allowed this fungus to grow. I don't know how it's going to end. And I'm not sure that it will. I mean that wholeheartedly. Whether or not Trump gets, to jail and whoever becomes president next. As long as we keep doing business as usual, the end is inevitable. The left wing has gone so far right that Obama's plan, the Affordable Care Act, was a right-wing plan. So when they tell you that there's a left and a right, it's all right. In every other country that has a left wing, they have free health care, free education, extremely long days off for if you're pregnant, paternity and maternity leave. Those things aren't even possible to talk about in our left wing, is how far they've gone right. And every inch that has been moved with corruption as a policy, they've allowed the fungus of this false populism to fester and grow. And until we scooch that arc, scooch that a little bit more left for everybody, it's going to continue going down this road, and it's going to get more and more crazy.
Sherman. Cheryl.
I'm not speaking as a leftist.
Simpson.
I'm speaking as an advocate for democracy. We already messed up with just having two parties. But since that's what we have to do what we can to ensure that the left is actually on the left and not center right. Because now the Overton window, instead of fighting and compromising from the left and the right, we're fighting and compromising from the right and the far right. And that populism, that fungus, is going to grow until we figure that out. We get the money out. You get the greed out. And we stop being silent and act like what's going on is just normal. We stop taping every single, motorcade when Trump is going to a court case. You spend hours with your camera on a black car watching him go, while Biden is actually talking about fascism and how to stop it, and you don't talk about that until afterwards, because you've legitimized a fascist movement as some sort of normal political party. They're eating themselves alive, and nobody can talk about it, because if they do, they may lose funding. They've riled the base up into a frothy frenzy, so they can't even be normal in front of them. So they have to lie, cheat, steal, just to be considered. I don't know how to stop it. I know it needs to happen, but I don't know how to make that happen. I do know that if it doesn't stop, it doesn't matter what happens to Trump. The fungus has already got its tentacles under every single piece of land, political land, that we occupy.
Of Pennsylvania. Nay.
Maybe you should run.
Nay.
Maybe you should run.
Nay. Titus.
I don't know.
Yea. To leave. Yea. Takuda.
I'm just giving you the reason.
Tonko.
When they were silent.
Yay.
When they allowed this Tea Party thing to come in. From the beginning, when they allowed
Torres of New York.
This idea that anyone who's against us is a devil worshiper, a child eater. When they allowed that and said nothing,
Trahan. Yay.
They invited
Trone.
This uneducated horde, this
Kerner.
mass
Nay.
of angry people
Underwood.
with no direction
Yay.
to infiltrate the ranks
Nay.
and pull everyone
Van Drew.
further and further towards crazy. And the compromise
No.
that makes a democracy work
Van Dyne. Nay. Van Orden.
is negligible, if not lost altogether.
Vargas.
The only thing they agree on is
Yay.
making money for themselves.
Vasquez.
And when people
Yay.
like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, and Matt Gaetz throw a wrench
Yay.
in that because they can't even get funded by
Velázquez.
those companies,
Yes. Wagner.
it's blown up in their face.
Wahlberg. Nay.
And we can't depend on
Waltz.
the other side
Nay.
to fix it. Because
Watson
that
Schultz.
other side is still over here.
Yay.
Just a little bit more
Waters.
center.
Yay. Watson Coleman. Yay. Weber of Texas. Nay. Webster of Florida. Nay. Winstrup. Nay. Westerman. Nay. Wexton. Yea. Wild. Yea. Williams of Georgia. Yea. Williams of New York. Nay. Williams of Texas. Nay. Wilson of Florida. Yea. Wilson of South Carolina. Nay. Whitman. Nay. Womack. Nay. Yackham. Nay. Zinke. Nay. McCarthy. Nay.
Here it is, guys. Here it is.
Now I've got to go through these.
House will be in order. The clerk will now call the names of members that have not already been recorded alphabetically.
Banks. Nay. Bush. Bush. Kamek. Nay.
Huh. Might get saved by these last few.
Carter of Texas. Carter of Texas.
Just so you guys know, every time you don't hear someone answer, that might as well be a yes to get rid of them. Because that lowers the ratio.
Tony Gonzalez. Nay.
You might get saved by these last few.
Gooden of Texas. Gooden of Texas. Luna. Luna. Mills. Nay. Pelosi. Pelosi. Peltola. Peltola. Sykes. Sykes.
Are there other members in this body who have not been recorded or who wish to change their vote? On this vote, the yeas are 216.
Wow.
The nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Whoa! They did it! I think that's it. They vacated. They got rid of Kevin McCarthy. There you have it, folks. A debacled party under a debacled system.
House will come to order. The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. This is to notify you that the first name on the letter received by the clerk pursuant to Clause 8B, 3B of Rule 1 is the Honorable Patrick T. McHenry of North Carolina. Signed sincerely, Kevin F. McCumber, Acting Clerk.
Pursuant to Clause 8B3 of Rule 1, I'll now act as Speaker Pro Tem. The Chair will inform the members of the House the following. The office of the Speaker was rendered vacant pursuant to the adoption of House Resolution 757.
Kevin McCarthy is no longer Speaker. The weakest Speaker of the House we've ever had in the history of our country is now the first Speaker to actually ever be ousted. Boehner resigned. He wasn't ousted. And the one after him, he stayed until he was voted out, and then he resigned. Not voted out, but he left at the end of the term. Some of the Republicans said that, this is crazy. We have to take inventory of doing something that has never been done in the history. But the truth is, the reason why is because they've never had such a disgusting representation of human filth voted to office before. The same people who will tell you that QAnon is right. We're sending 16-year-olds across state lines. That's Matt Gaetz. The same people that tell you that Hunter Biden somehow should be impeached even though he's not elected have nothing to say when George Santos lies pathologically, even to veterans and dogs, steals money from veterans, and lies about his mother being in 9/11, steals checks, found convicted, and lies after being found convicted because they know you will never, ever just look it up. Because they know it no longer matters to you. Us. We voted people in who were unworthy of babysitting our children to run our country. And we're dealing with the fallout of that because we thought it was more important to own the others, tell them how it is, than it was to have governance and simply care for our neighbor, whether or not we disagree with them. We use religion as a tool to divide instead of unite. And we use politics as a vehicle for riches as opposed to governance and representation. Both sides. Here is our result. What say we next? I'll see you next time.